Are you there?
Happened?
What do you mean what happened?
I don't know. You just cut out.
Oh, yeah, you cut out for me. That was weird.
Oh,
I didn't like
weird.
it. Hi everyone. It's been a week.
It's us.
We're alive. You know, we didn't skip this time. We're
We didn't
we're
skip. We didn't skip. That's the win.
that's
That's
what's
the win. That's how
important.
you know we're doing really well. We did not skip this week. We didn't push it to another day. It's all well. It's
What's
all doing
even
good.
more insane is this week you're getting a review, next week you're getting a review, the week after you're getting a review. Jeez. You're getting actually 2 reviews in 2 weeks. I have to do 2
Busy game.
reviews. Oh no.
It is. We are reaching end of the year, which means it is game time, game time, game time, game time.
It is game time. I'm going to start by saying we don't have a ton of news. So we're able to cram 2 episodes into one because of it. Luckily, Emily's idea, like 5 minutes for a podcast. I didn't even tell her about the short amount of news that we have because we really don't have much. It's almost nothing.
Well, next week is going to be Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I feel like I'm going to have a lot to say. And we had an extra topic, which was ranking all the 3D Zelda games. And that goes along with Echoes of Wisdom more than it goes along with Silent Hill 2 for obvious reasons. So let's do them both.
Yeah. Now there can be an argument. We have settled. We have talked about it. We settled because Emily's arguing that the remake for Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom are 3D Zelda games. I don't count them as that, but we settled on not including Link's Awakening, but including Echoes of Wisdom. Just for transparency, before anyone goes in the comments and says, that's not a 3D Zelda game, where Emily is absolutely right. We had a discussion. We compromised. We came...
We're talking about Echoes of Wisdom. It has to be ranked.
I guess. I mean, it's an isometric Zelda. I don't count isometric and 3D in the same way. But that's just
But it's
me.
not... I feel like you're just nitpicking, because it's not 2D either. Just live and let live.
I won't even call it 2D. That's why I'm using the word isometric. Like, purposefully using isometric. Because it's separate.
Like... it's not that deep. We're ranking it. It's being ranked.
Oh, you good? You want to talk about it?
Yeah, well, apparently you have very strong feelings about isometric 2D and 3D.
I do. We actually had a conversation with our friend G on this. He was on my side, which is a rare thing.
I feel like it's just nitpicking. It's the models are 3D, the world is 3D, the camera angle is just a little different. Like it's basically a 3D game. What separates it from being 3D is the camera angle.
But then again, in the same vein, then you have to say A Link to the Past is 3D.
Sure.
It's
I'll say it.
not. God damn, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We've already...
If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, if the characters are 3D and the world is 3D, is it maybe 3D?
This woman's going to say that Super Mario Wonder and New Super Mario Brothers was also 3D because the character models are in 3D.
No, because you can't...
Okay. Okay, all right. Done with that. Let's jump into the quick news updates. I have 3 pieces of news, and I don't know if Emily has anything. One of them actually has to do with a game that Emily might review at some point. The release of Until Dawn.
Review. I'm playing that this Saturday from beginning to end.
Yeah, it is getting heavily mixed reviews. Mainly because this has nothing to do with the new content. I haven't heard anything about new content, but this is mainly because it somehow looks worse, if not the exact same as the PS4 version.
That's actually wild because I've seen gameplay and I've seen screenshots of it, and it's not at all similar.
When they're talking about what's improved, it's character models, but when the things that have are worse are things like the bricks on the wall, things that I don't think you're gonna care about if you notice.
That's so wild because I've also seen scenery, and it looks like the difference is night and day.
I've seen
I'm all for unnecessary remakes, like Last of Us versus Last of Us remake. Not much going on there, but
yeah,
this was insanely different. That's wild to me.
Yeah, from screenshots I've seen, I can see where some of the gripes are, but I have no skin in this game as I played Until Dawn once and I hated it.
Man. I guess
don't have it on me.
See one
because you know what? Actually, I can do that. Until
I've seen some people pull out screenshots of characters making weird faces, but that's just how frames work.
There were certain things the reviews are very mixed. The other reason it's mixed, very mixed, is because of specifically streamer mode. This one I do get. So games have started adding streamer mode, so you can stream it. It takes out all licensed music, so you don't get flagged. Makes sense. Most other games will replace it, like Dreamlight Valley will replace it with non-licensed music, as they should. Until Dawn just removes the music altogether. There's just no sound there. If in those
that
appropriate.
Is weird. I don't know if that is like worth giving it a bad review over, but it's weird.
Let me check the Metacritic score, because this is, once again, I'm just going based off what I've heard.
Next week, because we're going to talk about Until Dawn next week as well.
Oh, that's right. You're doing both.
I'm playing the entire game with my friends from beginning to end on Saturday. So next week we'll be talking about it as well.
Yeah, looking at Metacritic, it's got a 72 on Metacritic. Mostly positive still, but
maybe I'm just not a hater, because if Until Dawn has one fan left, it's me. If Until Dawn has no fans, I'm dead. Actually, my friends are dead too, because this is like a core. Playing Until Dawn for the first time with my friends and then playing it several times over every time we made a new friend is such a core memory for me. I'm so excited. I know there's new content. I've seen sneak peeks of some of the new content. I think it looks great. I'm super excited to play.
I'm happy for you. I will not play it again. I think I'm good. I don't need to go through it again. I'm note to everyone in the audience. Emily is the horror fan. I am the no. I'm currently on my channel. This is a shameless self-promotion without trying to be. On my channel, I'm currently playing Security Breach, and I'm hating every minute of it. And normally, I can at least say, like, oh, it's because I don't like scary games. I just don't really think I like Security Breach, because I can at least make an argument for Until Dawn and Outlast.
I think Security Breach is a very different type of horror game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like really tiny nitpicky stuff. Like you have to find a lot. It's a huge world and a huge map, and you have to find a lot of very tiny things and like follow very step-by-step directions. And if you like miss even one of those, it's gonna throw you off for a really long time. I've seen even like Markiplier, when he played, get like really frustrated by some of those aspects. So
yeah, I'm usually fine with like learn, trial and error, like make a mistake, learn from it, move on. I don't feel like that's what I'm doing. I feel like I'm just continuing to retry and getting lucky. So that's my 2 cents. That doesn't matter. Anyways, Emily's the person who has the better horror game, rankings than I do. I will make that abundantly clear, though.
We're in horror game month, guys. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be playing Silent Hill 2. I'll probably be streaming that on my channel on Friday. And then I'm going to be playing Until Dawn Remake this weekend. Sorry, that one won't be streamed. That is for me and the girlies this weekend.
Oh, girls' night.
girls 7 to 8 hours of killing off video game characters or saving them, hopefully, to get a new ending for Josh. Fingers crossed.
That reminds me. Remind me to ask you something about multi-streaming. Not the other thing I already asked you about, but something else, because I had an idea. It's a good idea because I'm smart. Anywho.
And then I'm thinking end of the month, maybe on Halloween, maybe right around Halloween, either on our podcast or on my personal Twitch, playing, of course, PT.
Oh God, you braves! I won't be there. I will not be there. You can have that one.
It might be me and the viewers, but it's gonna be good. I love PT. We'll get the special ending. We'll find all the secrets. I'll cry a little.
Pass.
It will be great.
Pass. Hard pass. Next on the docket, continuing on the review train, surprising everybody, and I text this to Emily, all excited, a whole bunch of people who are also shocked. Metaphor ReFantazio, which I'll be reviewing in 2 weeks, that comes out this Friday, ended up getting a 94, which I think it's higher than Persona 5 got, which I can check right now. This is by the Persona team, not just Atlas. Oh, Persona 5 got a 95. Okay.
Why am I surprised it did well if it's by the Persona team?
Because other Atlas games haven't done as well. Shin Megami Tensei usually sits in the 70s and the 80s. And then Soul Hackers 2 specifically, which came out for PS4, PS5 a couple years ago, got like a 50 or a 60. It's hard to push new IP from a team, though I think Atlas did a better job marketing this one than other games, because I never really see their marketing, but I saw Metaphor
never saw a single thing for this game.
You never saw anything I see things for Metaphor everywhere. Everywhere
Nope,
I see it.
never saw anything for it. Didn't even know what it was.
There are people who have gotten the demo and have replayed it multiple times. And it's a 5-hour demo. That's a long
Not a
demo.
demo. That's just a game.
The game's 80 plus hours. I'm excited to jump into it. The only thing that I'm upset about is the confirmed fact that there is no romanceable options. You still get to hang out with your buddies. Like, that's still a thing. But there's no romancing. So
That is
cool.
tragic.
Now, as of this morning, that would have been our last bit of news, but Nintendo just started to drop a stupid bombshell on us.
Oh my gosh, I saw that today.
For those of you who don't know, we're talking about the Alarmo. If you want an alarm clock with downloadable content, Nintendo's got you.
Do I have it on my Switch? Like, do I have to have my Switch be my alarm clock now?
It's a separate
so
thing.
Weird. Who asked Nintendo? Who wanted this?
Have you seen the device?
I saw images. I didn't know if it was like its own device or if it was something you downloaded on your phone or if you had to have it on your Switch.
Oh, no. It's its own separate device. It's its own separate device.
Buy another device? No, Nintendo.
Okay, hold on. How much is it? I didn't see the cost. Alarmo cost. It's $100?
Nintendo, no!
And it's only limited to Nintendo Switch Online customers in the US and Canada.
Nintendo, if you are this desperate for money, I will give you money for Wind Waker on the Switch. $70 right there. I'll give it to you, cash in hand. Like, you don't have to go to these links to make money. I'll give you the money. Just give me the good items.
Apparently people too, like, were rushing to the Nintendo store in New York today to pick it up, because I don't think you had to be a Nintendo Switch Online member to pick it up there, but they were rushing to get it there. And I'm like, why?
Because it's gonna be weird. And they're only gonna make like 100 of them before nobody buys them. And they're like, I gotta have this weird Nintendo thing to sell for like years down the road.
If someone were to gift it to me, I wouldn't be upset. I will say that. But I am not going out of my way, spending 100 of my cold, hard-earned dollars for an alarm clock that I already have on my phone.
Or
So...
Sorry, I'm just taking note because you said if somebody got it for me as a gift.
No, do not get it for Emily. I'm going to tell you now. Don't get it for me.
Christmas and birthday.
I'm saying no. I actually,
Oh,
you know what? No, fuck that. I don't want it. I will be mad. No, I'm just kidding.
You can. I already wrote it down. It's just. I'm actually gonna like send this to your wife. She's probably looking for a nice gift for you for like $100 for your birthday or something like that.
God damn it. God damn it.
Oh.
That is coming up in 2 months.
Or you can probably buy it from the scalpers for $500 in like 3 days.
Yeah, pass. Hard pass. Fuck the scalpers, dude. Fuck the scalpers. On that note, we can then... Oh, actually, I wanted to ask, how's Inquisition going?
Inquisition is going. I think I'm like 50% of the way done.
How many hours has that been?
I don't even know, man. I haven't played it in like 2 weeks. Well, no, I played a little yesterday, but for the most part, I haven't played in a while because life's been busy and I was doing stuff. So now that I've beaten Echoes of Wisdom, we're gonna switch back to Inquisition.
Except for on stream when she plays Silent Hill 2.
Yes. Otherwise, we are in Inquisition mode till the end of the month when I think I can beat it by then. I think I'm about 50% of the way through the plot. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I think I can do it. I'm ready for Veilguard. I want Veilguard, so...
I have faith in you. Are they connected? I don't know.
Yeah, they're all direct sequels.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a Skyrim situation or a Fallout situation.
Usually the protagonist changes. Like, you don't play the same protagonist every game, but it's the same world and the same, like... the same situation. Like, the end plot from Inquisition is going to continue into Veilguard.
Okay, so you still need the backstory then.
Yes. That's why I was playing Inquisition before going into Veilguard.
Did you look up the backstory for the other Dragon Age games?
I knew most of it already. Spoiler, one of my best friends and roommate for 4 years is the biggest Dragon Age fan I've ever met in my life. So I watched her play most of the games and heard a lot about the lore over the years through friend discourse. So I knew enough about 1 and 2 to go into Inquisition. Quite honestly, I probably knew enough about Inquisition to just go straight into Veilguard. But like I said, my friend group really loves it, so I wanted to play it.
Okay. All right. That's all we needed. Cool. Moving on.
Our main boy.
Yeah, it's review time, baby. We both played Echoes of Wisdom. I finished it last week. Emily finished it last night. Um, and what an interesting experience. This is technically Emily's first isometric Zelda game.
Say isometric one more time.
That's what it is, Emily.
And I'm gonna punch you.
Oh my god. This is Emily's first top-down Zelda game. Is that better?
Top down. It's not even top down.
Oh my god. I'm gonna lose it. Anywho, this is
It's
Emily's
more like over the shoulder. If that's like the camera's perspective, it's like an over the shoulder game.
Please, in the comments on YouTube, I need you guys to furiously tell Emily why she's wrong. Okay. Anywho, anyway, this is Emily's first traditional looking style Zelda game. Let me say it that way. Is that better?
Sure. Alright. Can't even bring myself to care anymore.
Echoes of Wisdom is also the first time. Okay, it's technically not the first time you get to play as Zelda in the main as a main character. The first time is a CDI game that is not canon. That is notably very bad. Huh?
Why isn't it called Legend of Link?
Yeah, everyone has been asking that same thing. Why is it not Legend of Link?
It should be, right? Like, it should be The Legend of Link. It's just like, it's unfair that Zelda doesn't get her own game. She's such a side character. But then, like, you remember the whole series is named after her, and she's doing, like, 5% of the work.
Listen, she's killing it. I have thoughts about the end, but we'll wait for that. I think that's where most of my gripes came from, was the ending.
You know what? We might agree on that one.
Oh,
Well, Blake and I have traditionally not had super similar opinions on Zelda games. I think the closest we come is both agreeing that Wind Waker is one of the greatest ones and Twilight Princess is overhyped.
We do also agree that Skyward Sword has the best story. Only that aspect, but yes.
We do agree with that aspect of it, but otherwise we don't really fall in line with where we feel on Zelda. So this one, I think, is going to follow that same pattern, mostly because I think this game had a lot of something that Blake really likes and a lot of something I'm not a huge fan of. So let's talk about it. I mean, yeah, Blake, do you want to give like a rundown of the general plot of the game?
Yeah. I mean, that's super easy. So this game, no one really knows where it takes place on the timeline, but wherever it takes place on the timeline, Link saves Zelda from a crystal. I'm assuming that means it's the end of Four Swords, or it's an alternate split off Four Swords, but I digress. Link gets Zelda out of the crystal that Ganon's holding her, defeats Ganon, but then all of a sudden a rift opens up. Ganon is sucked into that rift, and Link is also sucked into that rift. And Zelda is able to break herself out to be able to do something about it. Through all this, she gets back to Hyrule Castle. She sees, the king, her father, and then my two favorite characters, General Wright and Commissioner Left, just based on where they're standing on the screen. And it wasn't even right. Like, it was very funny. I loved it. Anywho, all of a sudden a giant rift opens up, takes those three in, and then new versions of them come out, and they are not themselves. They are evil. They say Zelda's creating they lie and say Zelda's creating the rifts and lock them up. I'm not going to give all the spoilers, just the beginning.
Yeah, just like a high level overview of what like the main plot is.
Yeah. Zelda then befriends this little yellow blob named Tri. And Tri will be your main companion for the game, kind of like your Navi, but it can do way more than Navi. And Tri essentially gives you a wand that teaches you how to make echoes. It is, of course, up to Zelda then to close all of the rifts, save Link, save Hyrule, defeat the big bad at the end. That's the 30,000 feet above of the game's plot. I won't get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, it's essentially like the gimmick here is that instead of fighting with the sword and shield like Link does, which actually you can do in this game, weirdly enough, you create copies of items in the world around you and use those copies to seal rifts, which are taking over Hyrule.
Which the bed is way too powerful. Way more powerful than it should be.
Especially when you get Zelda's bed.
I learned that too late. I beat the game before I knew you could do that one.
Oh, that's so sad. That's so tragic. I pulled that one out in the final boss fight a couple times. Just like, gotta take a minute.
Is it faster
I
healing?
wasn't even in the final boss fight.
Was it faster healing in then?
Yeah, it heals more hearts and it heals them faster. And if you find the silk pajamas, I don't know if you got those, but that also heals you faster when you sleep.
Damn. I know some amiibos unlock clothes too that you can get. Anywho, besides the point, yeah, that is pretty much the whole premise. So let's talk about our pros with the game. First, I actually want to hear now that Emily has beaten the game, because we had arguments about this. What is your favorite echo at the end?
Which one did I use the most, or which one was my favorite?
Favorite, most broken, what you use the most. I don't care which, all of the above.
What I used the most was probably, I think I used the yellow platform that raises and lowers a lot. Oh, and I think I used the little fire dude, the little fire orb guy that you can pick up. And the bed, obviously. And still P-Hat. P-Hat was still pretty big for me at the end. Favorite echo? I don't know. I was a really big fan of the mama wolf who can summon like the 3 baby wolves near the end of the game, because they can just hit so many different things at once. Yeah, I really liked that one.
Did you get the Lionel?
I never found a Lionel, which is wild, because I uncovered the whole map and I never saw a Lionel.
It's in one spot. In the spoiler alert. Turn off the volume for a second. In the hidden what's the forest called? Whatever the forest is called.
The hidden forest, whatever.
Yeah. You'll see like hoof tracks. If you follow the hoof tracks, it takes you to the Lionel.
Okay. No, I never got it.
That is what made the final boss way easier for me. But I digress. I think in terms of favorite, mainly because of creativity and all the cool stuff I could do with it, and how I got through a puzzle incorrectly, as you nimbly discussed earlier.
No. Let's be clear. You didn't get through a puzzle incorrectly. You did an entire dungeon neglecting the core element of it. It's like if you did the water dungeon in Ocarina of Time without the iron boots, and you just like found some heavy weight to like weigh you down instead. What you did.
Listen. Did it work? Absolutely. I think my favorite was the water block, though. Because not just that area, but there were so many cool things. There were so many ways I can get higher with the water block, and it just...
It did just, like, defy gravity.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the cloud, but the cloud ended up sucking.
No, the cloud's not great. I don't like the cloud.
Because you only have, like, 3 seconds before it disappears and is just gone. Most used was definitely the bed. Like, by far, it was the bed. And I didn't even get the Zelda bed. I got the regular bed. So...
I'm sorry, let's be clear. By the end of the game, were you still using the, like, wooden white bed?
Yes. You
didn't get any of the beds?
There's more than 2.
There's, like, 3 or 4.
Well, I just didn't see them sparkle.
And, the better the bed you get, the faster and more it heals you. When you were being healed by the bed, you sat down and you waited those, 15 seconds for that half a heart, and then you waited 15 seconds.
I actually counted out. It's 5 seconds per half heart.
That's wild. I think it's 5 seconds for 3 hearts, and then maybe 4 hearts if you get the Zelda bed.
It took forever, but I never did them during fights or anything. I did them right outside, and I just all right, I put my controller down, and
I did them in the middle of fights. I was I have a few seconds. I just lay down on my bed, and then after 10 seconds, I had 6 hearts again.
No way, dude, no way.
I did it in the final boss fight.
Let's talk about pros first. I will let Emily go over her pros, and then I'll go over my pros, and then we'll talk about cons.
Pros. It's cute. I like the aesthetic of the game. I like the look of the game, the style. The world was really pretty. I think it's, it gave the way everything was designed. This world still gave a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom feel to it, but in its own style, which I liked. I still thought it was really pretty. I liked exploring the world. It was fun to get to play Zelda. Um, Sorry, I just beat the game last night, so I'm still thinking about what my pros were. I think there were a lot of really creative boss fights. I liked figuring out how I could use the echoes that I had. You know, in most games, 90% of games, you have to just like hit a button and mash. In this game, there was no way to enter an encounter without like somewhat thinking about the enemy you were facing and what the best strategy was. You really had to work for every fight that you had and every enemy that you encountered and every room that you went into about how you were going to do the thing you wanted to do. And in that way, it was a hugely puzzle-oriented game, which is interesting for the Zelda series. It's completely new. Do I like that it often fell back on the sword mechanic? No, but I really liked what it did with the echoes.
So I ended up not really using the sword as much as I probably should, unless I was like absolutely had to.
You mean like in every single boss fight?
Yeah, I mean, except for those moments, but most of the time, like I'm just like, okay, I'm done with that. Now let me get out of it and do the echoes so I can get stuff done. But most of the time, I was just conserving that and not really using it as much. I was mainly relying on echoes, which for the most part did me well. The bosses, the beginning. I will say this: at the beginning of the game, it is difficult as you're learning how to do it. I died multiple times, especially in the Gerudo Desert with the screaming.
The redeads?
The redeads kept getting me, and I kept dying in that area because it was just so frustrating.
That's understandable.
Once you get to past the halfway point of the game, you become so much more powerful, and it's significantly easier to get things done.
That's very true.
But I think my biggest one, the map is very, at least layout wise, like where things are located. It is similar to how Tears and Breath of the Wild's map is. Like Gerudos are down in the bottom.
This is
southwest.
very inspired. Like it feels like I said, like a Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom game.
Yeah. The map is very not. Once again, it's not 1-to-1. There's a lot of. It's way small, and there's a lot of pieces missing.
Sure.
But it is big enough. And I think I really appreciated it. I don't think the game was too big. I don't think it was too small. It was one of those games too that I think was just the right length. Like I just got enough of it. I enjoyed, and this is one of my pros from Tears of the Kingdom as well. I enjoyed that every puzzle didn't have the same solution. Like I'm sorry, every puzzle didn't have like you have to solve it this way or you don't solve it. Hi, Bean. Meow. Every puzzle could be solved in multiple different ways. And that is what I adore about a game. I like when I can do things my way. For example, doing the entire fire temple incorrectly using water blocks instead of using the mushroom guy.
The guy who literally, like, I don't know how he did that, because there's a line where, what's his name, the Goron chieftain or whatever, is like, my dad said, use the wings to soar through the sky. And I was like, okay. And I pulled out the wings and I flew, and it was very clear that was the directive. And then you just like kept that throughout the dungeon. Yeah. Did you not read that line?
Oh, I did. But remember, I told you I used ravens and crows and I used all the other winged ones, which as soon as I connected to, they just fly in a circle. They just fly. I'm like, what is the solution here? I actually was streaming this to our friend G, and G was also stuck like I was, and so I did the water path. I went the water because water has to be connected to a surface.
You like said that to me. You were like, the Goron one is the most frustrating, and I was like, dang it. And I did the Foreign Woods one, and I was like, I hate this dungeon. This dungeon sucks. I can't imagine how
the Woods one. I liked Goma.
Hated it. And then I got to the Gorons, and like the introduction of the temple was kind of rough. And then once I got to the temple, I was like, this is actually really easy. I'm like flying through this temple. I think I did that temple in like under an hour, like from beginning to end. And I was like, wow, this was actually really easy. Blake was like, how'd you get over the gap? And I was like,
what gap?
What gap? And he was like, the big gap. And I was like, you didn't just like fly over it like every other word of this dungeon?
It wasn't.
And that's when I learned Blake had made a terrible mistake.
It worked out. It like all I can say is it worked out. But I still see that as a pro was because even though I couldn't figure that out, could be innovative, and I figured out a way to get around things.
Sure.
It was very, very. I like that. I like when I can do multiple different things to get to the same end.
That is nice. That is nice where you can just kind of do your. There was actually, I don't know what I did, but when I did the Farron dungeon, the one in Farron Woods, I had an extra small key at the end.
Yeah, I have no clue what you did. Oh no, there was a bonus room. I remember there was a bonus room where you could have gotten extra
Oh,
stuff.
and I didn't get it. I hated that dungeon.
I got
hated it so much.
I think the only
Things.
there's only one chest I didn't get, and that was in the Gerudo Temple, the one that like it's a split room with a wall in the middle, and there's a chest on the other side of the wall. That's the only chest I didn't get.
Oh.
You know what
Let's talk about your pros.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, I had one more pro.
Yes.
This doesn't encompass the entire thing. There were story elements I really did enjoy. Obviously, getting to play Zelda. I really liked that the main villain was not, in fact, Ganondorf.
Or just normal Ganon.
Or just normal Ganon. Anything Void Ganon, Calamity Ganon, Ganondorf, Ganon the monster. He was there. Whatever. He was not the main villain, nor was it anything we've seen before. It was completely new. We brought back the goddesses. We had a whole new, like, setup for how the world was created and why it was created and, like, what the Triforce was meant to do. It was really, really nice to see Nintendo do something new with the story. Did they go crazy with it? No. Did they do anything else particularly interesting with it? No, but I really liked the few, like, little elements they added. Did they change Zelda from, like, what is it, like, the maiden, like, the spirit maiden, the light maiden, or whatever they called her in all the other games, to the priestess? Did I for 1 second think the priestess referred to Impa and was like, oh my gosh, Impa's gonna do something cool? And then instead they're like, it's Zelda, she's the priestess.
No.
Yeah, I really thought we were getting something new, and they're like, it's Zelda and Link. Oh my gosh, you guys. To save the world, we need Zelda and Link. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, shit. You need the Triforce of Courage and the Triforce of Wisdom. Crazy.
Oh my gosh, the two main characters of the series are the keys to saving the world. But they did have some, like, new interesting elements that I liked, so.
My pros. I already mentioned one. I was talking about one already, and that was creativity aspect. Once again, yes. I like a choose your own path to get to the end of this thing without having to follow these distinct guidelines, right? Like you don't have to hit this switch and do this. There's your own ways to get things solved. Whether that's in the 2D left to right sections where you go down some stairs, or it's in the isometric overworld portion. You can pretty much solve things your own way. Obviously, there are things that aren't going to work, but there's so much trial and error, and there's multiple things that can work, and I love that. Other aspects, I do enjoy that I would call it a traditional Zelda story, akin to things like Link's Awakening, the original Zelda 1, A Link to the Past. Nothing insane, but just enough. At least for me, it was just enough. For such a short game. I didn't need it to be heavy. I will say I would like a Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom / Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, whatever version of a Zelda game with a heavy story. I would love that. But
that's why you included Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom as the first two on that list when neither one of them have heavy stories.
You know what? Valid. Scratch those two. Let's talk about Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword. I would love a game starring Zelda like that. However, what they gave me for this style of Zelda game, I'm okay with. For a shorter Zelda game for this style, I was okay with it. I give them props there. Other things, there's secrets everywhere. Not necessarily hard to find, but some of them you do have to look for them. I think one of my favorite secret portions was the pirate ship out in the middle. It's near nothing. Like, you are just near a cliff. And unless you...
I didn't find that.
Oh my god, it was so cool. It was multiple floors of this pirate ship, and you find a heart in there, and you find multiple rupees and all these different things, and then the bottom of it...
You find a pumpkin.
No? What?
Okay. One of my beats of this game is that, like, 50% of treasure chests had, like, food in them.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the smoothie. We're not at cons yet though.
I just wanted to know if there was a pumpkin somewhere on the pirate ship. Odds were in favor of it.
There are hidden bosses though. Like that was a hidden boss. There was a temple near Faerun with a hidden electric boss, which gave you one of the best echoes in the game for movement, at least. It's one of the electric balls that goes along the wall and goes around. That one was wonderful. I liked the Great Fairy who upgrades your clothes and lets you wear multiple like stack power ups. Things like that made me incredibly happy. Most of the dungeons, I like traditional Zelda dungeons. I enjoyed most of them, with the exception of the one I did completely wrong, and I most likely didn't like it. That wasn't. What's crazy is the part I did wrong wasn't even the dungeon itself. It was the lead up to the dungeon. It wasn't in the void itself, so the dungeon ended up being fine.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh my goodness gracious. The side quests were very cute and charming. Finding
side quest is one of your pros. Okay.
The hell, dude.
They're so hollow. Somebody's like, man, I wish I could see this echo. And I'm like, oh, I got the echo. Here you go. And they're like, wow.
Well, some of them I will fully agree. Some of them were hollow, but things like finding the horse, and one side quest involved
like even the deeper ones just involve like, oh no, something's fallen into a rift. Go to rift. Go inside rift. Try looks at you. My friends are trapped here in 4 areas, to be exact. 3 to 5 sometimes. And you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can heal this rift. We got the item. Yay!
No, I enjoyed it. You didn't have to. I thought they were fun and charming. My favorite one being the cat one, where you're talking to all the cats.
That was a good one. That one
I thoroughly, and then I would, every time I saw a cat, I would change into the cat suit and talk to every cat I ran into, and they all would have something to say.
I was actually really disappointed when I started the game and like you went up to cats and they just meowed at you and you couldn't actually pet them. Same. And then I realized it was because you can get a cat suit that lets you talk to them.
That was going to be one of my cons until I got to that point and talked to them. I'm like, nope, 10 out of 10 game. It's not a 10. Spoiler alert, it's not a 10 on my scale, but I digress. Story was good enough. The echoes were fun, even though I know I didn't find them all. Because there's over 100 and I found it. Huh?
Who did find them all?
Yeah, there's over 145. I think the echoes that I did find were fun and provided, enough for me to get things done. Finding different ways to fight with different of your enemies to fight for you was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Getting the Lionel just made you broken, and I loved every minute of it.
The Lionel in the bed.
The Lionel in the bed.
The Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe. The Lionel in the bed.
I'm going to echo, pun intended, one of Emily's pros as well. I do enjoy the fact that we have a new villain. As much as I keep asking them, I want Vati to come back in some significant way. They're not going to bring Vati back, but I would love Vati to come back in some significant way. I think this would have been a way to do it, but I digress. I think this was fine.
Zelda having a new villain was like me getting a shot of my inhaler. Like somebody getting there, like, oh, breathe again. Thanks.
Shit, that's the good stuff.
That was good. I breathe again. You've gotten away from Ganon for 1 minute. Bud, this is probably going to keep me alive to the next 20 years when you pull out the next new villain.
That being said, we both have some cons. I think Emily has more cons than I do. Would you like me to tackle cons first since you had the most cons?
Yeah, sure. Go for cons.
Okay. First and foremost, Nintendo, with the Echo Scroller, come on. You guys can do so much better with that. Like, we just needed a favorites tab. Like, even if you couldn't change it to make it better, make a favorites tab. It's all you had to do. I can bookmark.
Was a favorites tab.
It was your most used. That doesn't count as favorites. I don't count that.
Pretty much the same. The ones you use the most become your favorites were the ones you used the most.
But so at the beginning of my most used were items and not enemies. So when I had to get enemies, I was still scrolling for a long time.
Well, that's when I did the cost. I went to the cost, and whichever one was usually like the highest cost was the ones I usually went for.
Yeah, no, I that scroller could have been done. It could have been done better. It could have been done way better. It was
A
very
lot.
obnoxious. It was annoying scrolling through all that. Not a fan. Not a fan of that at all. I did not like Emily said before about using the Link costume. I think the Link costume was fine gimmick at first, but it became apparent that it was a gimmick. And it was like, yeah, you're playing a Zelda, but you get Link's powers temporarily if you want.
We don't know how to do a boss fight without the sword. So we're just gonna sneak you a sword for every boss fight.
So I did not love that. And finally, after using all your echoes and more importantly, having the Link power at the end, spoiler alert, if you don't want spoilers, this is the time. This is the time if you don't want spoilers. At the end, you rescue Link and you lose those powers. And in the final boss fight, at the final boss fight, all you do is pull on the boss's arms so Link can chop them off. That's it. Why are you making that face?
It just made me, I'm like,
Oh.
this isn't a problem. I'm just so mad that this is how it happened. Like, I agree. I guess, like, to add on to what you said, to be clear, you guys, you spend the whole game, yes, collecting echoes, but also leveling up the sword, leveling up the amount of power you get to use the sword, leveling up your bow. You get bombs. You have to level all up. You get, like, there are 3 rewards you can get in this game. Money, food, and these, like, I don't even remember what they're called, like little things, and you use them to upgrade all that stuff. You spend the whole game collecting those to upgrade your sword, and then at the very end, at the boss fight, you get Link, and you give him his items, which makes sense that you have to give Link all his items back, and I did like getting to work with Link and, like, having the dual boss fight, because holy cow, Link could do a lot of really cool things. He was way better with his bow than I was with his bow, so he was probably the better person to have the bow at the end of the day. But
did you not lock
damn,
on?
you go into the boss fight and you can't do anything.
No. You all you can do is all I did was summon the Lionel, pull on the arms, and let Link and the Lionel go to town on the arms.
You are a passive participant in the final, like, literally, when I said this like 20 minutes ago, I was not kidding. I pulled out a bed in the final boss fight and took intermittent nap, like, because I was waiting for Link and whatever, like, echo I had summoned to finish killing the guy. I just, like, took a nap, and I was like, if I was Link right now, like, if this was a traditional Zelda game and I was playing as Link, I would be so livid that this dumb princess was taking a nap. But what else was I supposed to do?
Speaking of healing, that leads to another con I have. I don't think the smoothies provided enough buffs to be worth it. Other than hearts, there were some, like, you can swim faster, you can climb faster, but I'm like, I have equipment to wear for that.
You have equipment for that, yeah.
Like, give me something more than just hearts or maybe stamina for Link form. It was annoying coming up with combinations, messing them up. I think cooking in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom was significantly better. But in Echoes of Wisdom, it was bleh.
Also, the inability to batch order, like, smoothies. When I found, like, one smoothie recipe that was, like, a milky smoothie or something, and it gave me, like, 15 hearts, and it, like, leveled up my energy as well. And I was like, okay, well, this is the only thing I want. And I had, like, enough ingredients to make, like, 20 of them. So before the final boss fight, I had to go individual. And I was like, you can't, like, batch make these for me, dude.
No. That does make me want to backtrack to pros, because I forgot one pro that I loved, and it's so minor. It's a nothing thing, but I loved it. I loved Stamp Guy. And I love the fact that he's the scrawny little stamp dude. I love the fact that every stamp is him in some kind of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure pose. And I love that. Okay, back to cons. That's pretty much all my cons. Like I said, I don't have a ton of cons, and most of them, other than the ending, are very minuscule. So I don't really have much to add there. I know Emily had far more cons than I did. I could also say that the beginning of the game was slow. But I feel that way about most top-down Zelda games. So, Emily, take it.
Games. Well, this one's not really a con. It was particularly a con for me just because this isn't something I enjoy. But it's more like a neutral statement because it wasn't bad that the game had it. I just didn't particularly like it. It's a lot of, like, when you were in dungeons and, like, in areas, doing a lot of, like, the 2D side-scroller platforming. that I absolutely no way, shape, or form care for. Every time I went into a new room or like down a staircase or up a staircase, and it brought you to like you know what I mean, like the 2D like room where like you had to go up and down, like around, and like I hated those rooms so much. Despised them. Did not have a good time. I was really bad at them. You couldn't like use half your echoes because they were so like short and narrow. I did not have a good time with those areas.
So,
but
those
that's a me thing.
Those were inspired by, and not necessarily the remake, but the original Link's Awakening, because it was supposed to be a mix between Mario. It was a Zelda game with Mario assets and some Mario ideas, which is why Link's Awakening was. And they just, because they remade Link's Awakening, they brought that over to Echoes of Wisdom. I enjoy that, but Link's Awakening also always will hold a soft spot in my heart forever because it was my first.
This makes sense to me because something I felt throughout this entire game, and I kind of felt really crazy for thinking it, it felt like a Mario game at a lot of times.
Interesting.
Specifically, every time an enemy sees you, they make this like little surprise noise, and I'm pretty sure it is like the exact same noise the enemies make in Paper Mario when they see you and they're surprised. It's like this little noise, and the whole time it like really sent me to Paper Mario. And then at one point when you get to the like snow area, there's like, what are they called in Mario, like pokey things, like the three.
Oh yeah, they're pokies.
Yeah, they had those. Just like the
but they didn't have the spines. They were just snowmen. They were just giant snowmen.
Don't let Blake confuse you into thinking they looked like snowmen. They looked like the pokies from Mario, but they were white
and didn't have spikes.
They were the same size, like 3 snowballs stacked on top of each other. They didn't have it literally was just like Mario.
So they also did have the same attack. I understand it though. So once again, this is history lesson on Link's Awakening, and I think they tried to merge some of that with Link's Awakening. Them introducing Mario enemies to it. Like, I guess this one's not enemy. Like in the first town you're in, there's a pet chain chomp hopping around, and your uncle in Link's Awakening is clearly Mario. Like he looks like Mario, and there's a Luigi character. I think initially they were trying to do that again, but then like, okay, we don't need the Mario stuff anymore. We're just going to keep with the Zelda thing. But those things that look like Pokies, those stay. We want those. Just give them a different name.
They've had Mario and Luigi elements in almost every Zelda game. Like Ocarina of Time had a lot of like references and nods to like Mario, and Mario and Luigi are in Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. I didn't like the way this one felt. And I was like going through, I didn't know that what you said about like A Link's Awakening being like Mario oriented. And so there were just a lot of times where I was like, I feel like I'm playing Mario. Is that crazy of me? Am I just like a hater? But I'm glad you confirmed I'm not, and that in fact was a real thing.
Yeah, it's not Mario heavy. I wouldn't even say fully Mario inspired.
No, it's not Mario heavy.
Yeah. If you don't like that style, then don't play any more isometric Zelda games. I guess specifically Link's Awakening. Even though I adore that game, I will bring it to you.
I still try Link's Awakening. It wasn't necessarily like the style. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. Like there was a lot of times it was really working for me. But I don't know. I think a lot of it was everything felt very hollow to me. Like I mentioned with like the side quests earlier. Like every time you did a side quest, somebody was like, "I want an echo," or you did the exact same side quest of like go into Rift, get 4 things, leave Rift, cure Rift. And all the prizes you got were money or food. Money or food. You like went out of your way and you found a treasure chest. The treasure chest was money or food. Like you couldn't get anything else. Like exploration didn't feel very interesting. Like at one point I was exploring on my own and there's like that heart-shaped lake that becomes like a plot point later in the game. But I was like, this is kind of the difference between like this and maybe like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, which they're very different games, but like in those games, exploration, you were like, oh, I see something interesting on the map. I'm going to go see what that is. And then there was usually something there. Here, when I went and found something, I was like, oh, there's nothing here. Okay. I came down here for nothing. Bye. I'll come back later when it's plot relevant. The characters, again, also felt very hollow. This was a big frustration and gripe for me.
You didn't
Zelda
like
should
Impa?
have talked.
Oh,
Zelda
yeah.
should have talked.
Yeah.
She should have talked. She should have had like at least like more sound effects. She had like a scream that she made when she fell, but like she talks. She's like they actually act. This is actually a pro real quick. They canonically explain why Link doesn't talk in this one.
Mm-hmm.
he physically doesn't have a voice. He had his voice taken from him. He cannot speak in any way, shape, or form. Which I thought was so interesting. But then it made it even weirder that they went out of their way to explain why Link doesn't speak, but then Zelda also didn't make any noises.
Yeah. It was very much it looks like she's talking, but she's not talking.
So then this is also, I learned recently that this game was originally made with Link as the protagonist, but then Nintendo couldn't figure out a reason why people would fight with the echoes instead of with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
So then they like changed it to Zelda and made the sword system the way it works now. But it kind of felt that way. Like it was like a tech demo sometimes. It didn't feel like very like fully fleshed out. Like I would have liked to see more fleshed out world, more fleshed out like ideas. Again, I think the story had some really great starting points. Pretty much with like a new villain, a new like story for how the world began, but then it kind of didn't really hold up on its own for most of the time. And I'm finding that like, and I think Mario games do this as well, which is maybe why, not that I think I didn't like it because it reminded me of Mario, but they focus on you forming a connection, not with the other characters in the game, but with like the one companion you have throughout the game. And Zelda does that a lot too. And sometimes it works in the case of like Midna, Twilight Princess. Like I don't really care for Twilight Princess, but like your companion's an actual character with like a story and a plot. I liked it with Fee. She had her like kind of thing going. This felt like Tri was not anything. Tri did not have a personality or anything, and they try to make this big emotional moment out of you saying goodbye to Tri at the end of the game. And I was like, okay, bye. But what that meant was that because they focused all the emotional impact on you liking Tri and forming, you didn't have any kind of interaction between Zelda and Link, or Zelda and anyone other than Tri. Kind of a bummer. Also, for all like the echoes, you got to boss fights and you always had to use your sword. Always. Like 9 times out of 10, you had to use your sword. And then to the point where you get to the final boss fight and you can't do anything because you don't have the sword anymore. But I don't know. There were parts of it I liked. There were times I was really enjoying it, and there were times where I was like, it felt hollow. The story, the side quests, even like the temples. I really liked having the regular temples back. I will say that. I really did enjoy having traditional style temples return to Zelda. And I hope that they do another mainline game that has the more traditional style temples. I wish the temples had been a little more stylized, fit the themes of the world a little more, something more akin to like Ocarina of Time. But I really like that they brought the traditional temples back. But even then, like, the story was the same. You go to world. Zelda, you're here! Somebody's fallen into a rift. And you're like, oh shit, okay. And so then you have to go into a smaller rift, cure the smaller rift to get the people who are in the rift out of the rift. And then they're like, oh, now we can go get the bigger rift. But, like, we didn't let you get to the bigger rift before because there was a door or you needed to play music or something to get to the bigger rift. But now that you've done the smaller rift, we'll let you get to the bigger rift. And then you get to the bigger rift and you do it and the day is saved. And it kind of became... It was very repetitive.
Do you have any other cons?
Pro.
Pro.
I couldn't decide if this felt like a pro or a con.
Mid.
Iffy on it. Maybe you could tell me if you think it's a pro or a con, Blake. There was a lot of inspiration clearly taken from either Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, or Ocarina of Time, surprisingly. Did not anticipate Ocarina of Time being a huge influence on this game in the way it was.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a pro. I meant to bring up the Ocarina thing too. But no, I absolutely thought it was a pro. A lot of the music, like the music you hear in the overworld, is a new rendition of Zelda's theme.
There was a lot. I mean, like getting the Deku Scrubs back. I'm sure they were in other games besides Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, but I can't think of any at the moment. So like a lot of the visuals in the world.
Lon Lon Ranch.
Lon Lon Ranch coming back. 2 of the bosses were straight up from Ocarina of Time. I remember like getting to the end of the Goron one, and they had the like little lava bubble that like pit that started bubbling, and I was like, it's not gonna be the dragon again though, is it? And then the dragon came, and I was like, oh my god, it's the same dragon from Ocarina of Time.
This boss fight, this one I liked more. I liked this boss fight a lot. I enjoyed it.
They were both very good. But there is just like a lot, or like Goma's been in a lot of Zelda games. So that's not specific to Ocarina of Time, but like her dropping the eggs and the eggs eventually hatching into the spiders, I think is specifically Ocarina of Time. Just a lot. Oh, having the secret passage in the back of the Goron Chief's room, having the big spinning pot at one point was in one of the rifts. Like, just there are so many.
The biggest one too is the Deku Tree itself. The look of the Deku Tree.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest one itself.
He was a big one. I actually thought we were gonna like when he had like the final temple or whatever. I thought we were gonna go inside of him again. Same. I was like, it was very, very, very heavily Ocarina of Time inspired. Oh, I also did like that Link was a dude. I liked that people were like, this is Link's house. Link lives here. We made him a sword. We made him a little cape. We sent him on his way. Have you seen him? We lost our little child we sent off with a sword and a cape. And
yo, have you seen my dude?
Everyone had been like, have you seen Link? We're a little worried about him. He hasn't come back yet. And I really liked that because a lot of the times they're just like, who? But this one, I was like, have you seen Link?
It is really completely opposite in like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're like, I'm sorry, who are you? Little short man?
Especially in Hateno Village, in Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, where like Breath of the Wild, you build that town up, like you make your own house in it, you live there, and then in Tears of the Kingdom, they're like, who? I'm like, I live here. I'm part of your community.
Where's my house?
Zelda took over your home, but I really like this one that they're like, that's Link's cape. Did you take his cape? Have you seen Link? Can we find him? He got kidnapped as a child, and he lost the ability to speak. But like, we'd really love to get him back now. I liked that he was in it. There's another point I had. Oh, this is a con, but just because I don't think it matters. But it mattered to me every single time you healed a rift. Like, when you healed the rift, and you got the animation that I couldn't skip, and I wanted to skip every single time, but was never allowed to. Try is like, we did it, we healed the rift, let's go back to your world now, Zelda. Why are we still in the rift world? I healed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, even in dungeons, though, like dungeons, they make you stay in the rift initially. But you could go back into dungeon rifts later if you want to go back for chests you missed.
But it doesn't make sense, right? Because, like, it's not like everything exists inside the still world and inside the regular world. It either exists in the still world or the regular world. The only way it's pulled into the still world is by being pulled into a rift. So, like, for example, at one point, the Temple of Time is pulled into the rift. And then when you go into the rift, you can go in the Temple of Time, right? When the rift is healed, the Temple of Time is removed from the rift. Except it's not, because I'm still standing at the Temple of Time in the rift that was supposed to be healed. And then I have to leave it. Like, we should have been removed from the rift automatically because it no longer exists.
Yeah. I think they only did that mainly because it was them showing you, for major dungeons, you can go back into the rift if you forgot something. Like, I think that's literally the only reason.
But not being able to skip that cutscene was a crime.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's the same cutscene. They never gave me a new cutscene. It was the same one for all 8 dungeons. Never got a new one. And they didn't let me skip it.
I will say I really enjoyed the one in Faerun with the 2 lovers and the Heart Lake. That one was cute. That one was cute. We skipped a big pro. Which is?
The Yeti boy and his brother on the hot air balloon.
Dude, that was my favorite character, and I want him to come back. I forgot.
He was the only interesting character in the game aside from the Stamp Man, who like actually had something going on. So for like viewers, at one point you go up to this mountain and you meet a Yeti man, and he's like, "My big brother left to go fly a hot air balloon. That's his job now. But I haven't seen him in a while, and I tried to follow him, and he didn't want me to follow him. I haven't seen my brother." And then you're like, "Oh, that really sucks. Maybe we can go find your brother." And then you see him pray to their dead dad's shrine, and he's like, "Dad, help me find brother." So his dad's dead. And then you chase his fake brother up a mountain, because the brother is like an evil echo. Mm-hmm. And the whole time he's like, "Why doesn't my brother love me or want me?" And then the brother, you find out, had like written this diary about being sad to leave his younger brother, but knowing that their dad was going to take care of him. So the older brother doesn't know the dad's dead. I never got a reunion for those brothers. I never got to ride in the hot air. I did that whole dungeon and I didn't care for the dungeon. And I was like, it's fine because the moment this dungeon's done, the brothers are going to be reunited and
They're
I'm going to get
not.
to ride in this hot air balloon.
And
I
you
didn't
were
get to
not.
do it.
But that character, I want the Yeti to come back. Though it made me like that's a new race that I don't think we have seen before. Huh?
Princess.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, ignore that part. But I do have to question where are the Rito? They could have easily put in the Rito as well.
Oh, the Zora, the river Zoras are ugly.
Yeah, they're like they're based off actual Zoras from another game.
Are they based off Mario?
No, they're based off Zoras from another game though.
Did they not make you think of the enemy from Paper Mario? Not Thousand Year Door, the N64 one.
Super Mario 64 or Paper Mario 64?
No, Paper Mario 64. They made me think of this dude, Tubba Blubba.
I don't remember.
I'm sending you the image over Discord right now. And I want you to tell me that this man does not make you think of the River Zoras.
Hold on.
If he was green.
I'm going to show it. Don't worry. There it is. No, not really.
What?
That looks like a Mario.
Of the River Zoras.
Yeah, I know what the River Zoras look like. I mean, I guess. Maybe the big lips, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that does not, no. I could see some similarities. I guess the hair and the lips, but that's it.
They're like the same body shape. They got the same lips. They got the same hair.
I love the River Zora. They were fun. They were a fun bunch.
I looked at them and all I saw was this man. And there's like a green enemy.
Green enemy.
I don't remember what they were called. Oh, these guys.
Anywho,
but they were just like smaller versions of Tubba Blubba. But they're actually green.
That one I see more. That one I absolutely see more.
They made me think of them every single time I looked at them. I was like, this is just... I was like, it gave me Paper Mario, which isn't bad because Paper Mario is one of my favorite games. But I was like, you look like the guy from Paper Mario.
I like that we had a distinction between the two.
That was true.
River Zoras were in regular Zelda, Adventures of Link, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Oracle Season, Agents, Four Swords Adventure, A Link Between Worlds, and Echoes of Wisdom.
Like, I believe they've been in other games. I just think they're ugly. And I'm here for Ocean Zora supremacy, currently.
So I will say this. We're going to have to wait on the ranking because we actually went over time for our... Yeah.
I didn't even realize that it got so late.
That's better.
I think when you're talking about Zelda.
I think that's better. Because then we can do a whole episode dedicated on rankings. But before we switch to After Party, I have to ask, Emily, what is your official Podstation 64 ranking for Echoes of Wisdom on a scale of 1 to 10?
I want to say before I make my ranking, my overall, if I was to sum, because we do pros and cons, but I think we should sum it overall. I want to say, I think this is a good starting point. I would like to see them do a sequel to this and maybe work out some of the kinks, maybe put a little more like... flesh it out a little bit more, have some more story. Maybe we work with Link in some way again. Get some more. I think this idea is really cool, and I think this was a good, almost like tech demo of it. I just want to see like better version of it, with maybe some more character and heart and whatnot put into it. But at the same time, I had some fun playing it. But it also like I was never rushing to play it. I was never like super eager to play it. I'd probably rate it like high 7s, low 8s.
High 7s, low 8s?
High 7s, probably.
Okay, so you were wrong then. Our rankings are very similar. Because my overall summary, I liked how creative it was. I liked the fact that you could, and I will emphasize this, my favorite part of the game was the fact that every puzzle had different solutions. You didn't have to do it one specific way, much like life. Everything you do in life has different ways to solve it. I liked some of the creative aspects, but I didn't like... the whole Link is still shoved down your throat aspects of it. And God, the UI needs an overhaul, Nintendo. You guys gotta get that figured out. I gave this a strong 7.9 out of 10.
Right.
So
I'll go a little lower. I'll say like 7.5.
yeah, valid. I thought when you said we weren't going to be aligned, because I told you my score, I thought you had much. I thought you were going to say like a 5.
I forgot your score.
Huh?
I forgot your score.
Oh well, you know what? Valid. Totally valid. If you like content like this, catch us on YouTube to watch our older podcasts. If you are watching from YouTube right now, make sure to catch us every Wednesday live on twitch.tv/podstation64. Catch out my Twitch channel. My God, why was that so hard to say? Twitch.tv/thebeardedblake show, where I stream every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I'm currently playing Five Nights at Freddy's for October 2024. So if you're watching this in 2025, my God, you're behind. And you can check Emily out at twitch.tv/EmilyJean33. You know what to say, Em. Say your thing. Say your line.
I'll be live on Friday playing Silent Hill 2 Remake. So come check it out.
Insane.
My first Silent Hill game ever. I've never played before unless you count the playable teaser, which most people don't because it wasn't a full Silent Hills game. But I'm super thrilled. I know nothing. I'm ready to be scared. I'm ready for the horror. I haven't streamed in forever, so please come hang out with me on Friday. It will be fun. And we'll be talking about Silent Hill 2 next week, as well as the Until Dawn remake. So if you want to get a sneak peek at my feelings on the game, come hang out. We're going to be streaming it.
And then 2 weeks from today, so next week, Emily's doing Until Dawn, reviewing Until Dawn and Silent Hill 2, and then 2 weeks from today, I will be reviewing Metaphor ReFantazio and Super Mario Party Jamboree, featuring my wife, on the voice call.
Is she really coming on?
She's coming on for the voice only. She will be on voice only to do the Mario Party Jamboree part, and then she's gonna.
You guys I don't know. I don't think our audience knows this. Well, some of them do, some of them don't. I've never met a bigger Mario Party fan and a better Mario Party connoisseur than Allison. I think she is the total expert on Mario Party, and I think the episode will be way better for having her here, so do not miss her educated Mario Party opinions.
We have 2 jam-packed episodes for you. We're jumping to After Party. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. We'll do our 3D Zelda ranking pretty soon, I promise. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. Okay. What up, chat?
Hi, chat. I have a point that I forgot to mention.
Oh.
Speaking of the end of the game, this is not a big one. The end of the game, right? You beat the final boss, and then you go back to the Hyrule Castle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. I had a hard time pinpointing it. I think it's because Link was talking to everyone, which they specifically told me he couldn't do.
He was signing. Just think he was signing.
He was going like this, and his mouth was moving.
Well, there's only so much you can do with those assets.
Fine. I'll allow it. But, everyone ran up to him when it was I had been the one talking and working with everyone all along, and I was the princess. They should have cared about me more. And then, you just get everyone walking up in a circle, and everyone's just going like this and, mouthing things. There's no actual dialogue. There's no audio, really, to go with it. You kind of just get, everyone standing in a circle. You get this moment where everyone, it's, gesturing that everyone thought Link saved the day. And then Link turned and, gestures to you. And everyone's like, okay. And then they move on with their lives. Never at any point do you get, a satisfying conclusion, I felt like.
Did someone say dialogue? Gross!
Yeah, I hate when my characters talk. I hate when characters have to say things.
Emily, can I introduce you to a concept of why everyone was praising Link at the end? It's a little concept called misogyny.
I'm I get what it was supposed to be about because Link's been the hero in every game, so they're like, oh, it's obviously Link again, and he had to be like, actually, it was the woman.
Oh my god, it was insane. I'm shocked you didn't talk about Impa.
I liked Impa, but I mean, she's no Skyward Sword Impa, and when we don't have Skyward Sword Impa, she is the rubric by which all others Impas are judged.
Yeah. I hate that they never explained. They kind of brought it up, but they never explained. If you were in a rift, you can see Tri, but if you weren't in a rift, you can't see Tri. Why? What was the purpose for that?
I don't know what the intention was. I think it's because Tri is this mythical creature who only exists to heal rifts. I don't really know what it was. Also, why Zelda and Link were the only two who could move freely within the still world. Zelda I got because she was with Tri. Why could Link do it?
Probably because because they're the heroes of destiny or whatever who can hold a piece of the Triforce.
Heroes of Link, but like, get it together.
Heroes of something.
She's the priestess, and he is
The
hero.
Yes.
I don't know. They didn't give him a name. He didn't get a name.
The hero of void? I don't know. He's not the hero of time. He's not the hero of the wind. Which I still love to bring up the fact that, remember, kids, Wind Waker Link is not related to any other Link. He's just some dude who was worthy.
Honestly, isn't this Link, though, too? He never gets the Master Sword. He's just a dude from a village. His, like, sword was made by a friend. He had this little cloak, and he went and he did things.
Oh, actually, you know what? That answers a big... Okay. Well, first, technically, no, because technically the Link from Link's Awakening is a Link. But you don't get a Master Sword in that only because it's a dream. It's a dream sequence. So
but there's no saying that these are connected to, like, I mean, like, yes, it's another isometric, like Link's Awakening, but they're not directly connected.
What I read online when I looked up timeline, someone literally said, well, Link doesn't have all the tools yet, and the curse hasn't been made yet. Therefore, this Link is related. This Link is pre-Skyward Sword Link. And so the Master Sword wasn't created yet. So it's a possibility, but I don't know.
Guys, I'm not going to say shit about the timeline until Nintendo pulls out their special little book. And it's like, hey, you idiots. Here's a new timeline. It's actually not connected to Link's Awakening at all. Just like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom with their own timeline. If we ever can't explain our own lore, new timeline. Here you go. Until it is painted on the wall of the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto.
It is painted on the wall, just without Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom isn't on the wall. That's what I'm saying. Until they add Echoes of Wisdom to that wall, I'm not confirming or believing any timeline theories.
Reading chat. I know G agreed with me on bed, and I know Trish agreed with me on bed. And hello, Nyx.
Bed is good.
Bed is life.
I just wish you had Zelda's bed. It's better.
I only had one bed. I had one generic bed. It worked. All I need to say is it worked, and I got through it. The bosses weren't that bad. The bosses
weren't bad. The bosses were actually one of the highlights of the game. They were pretty fun.
They were fun and easy.
The boss, who was the worst because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I do like Void as a villain, though. I hope they bring back
Void as a villain is fun. Did you have trouble getting where you like hold something with the power and you like pull it? I couldn't get it to latch onto the arms. I kept getting like the center of the orb, or sometimes I would get Link himself. And I'd be like, oh shit, I'm so sorry, Link. Like,
oh, did you ever use the lock-on feature? Because that's how I had to fix it. Because you said you were bad at the bow too, and I'm like, you have to lock on.
I locked on with the bow. I just I never really upgraded my bow is the reality. I liked the sword, so my bow was weak as shit.
Trish, I agree with that sentiment. It's one of my top 3 Zelda games. Is there much collecting? There's no trophies because this is a Switch game, because Nintendo do that, but there is a lot of collectibles. There's a lot of sword pieces.
I would not agree with that.
There's a ton of sword pieces. There's a ton of sword pieces. And I'm talking like amount, not how many different types. I'm talking amounts of them.
What do you mean sword pieces?
Like the ones that you use for upgrades. They're all over the world.
Oh, yeah, but there's there's not interesting, like, you can get the collectibles to level up your sword, but, like, in terms of, like, finding interesting things throughout the world, there's food and there's money.
Yeah, there's food, there's money, there's heart pieces, and then there's sword pieces.
Yeah.
Most of the heart pieces were very, very easy to get because you just need bed. Or water.
I would say there's, like, interesting collectibles to, like, go hunt for. There's no, like, Korok seed type things, or, like, oh, if I go in, like, this area, I might find a chest, and that chest might have, like, this really interesting new outfit in it, or this new weapon of some kind, or anything like that.
Pull up Bean. I hear Bean, and we need to see... Blaine needs to see Bean. I don't think Blaine's seen Bean.
Ooh.
Meow.
Are you talking? Say hello.
Look at Bean. Look at Bean. The grumpy boy.
What is it? Thank you. Thank you for the kisses. What is it saying?
Imogene Bean.
If you want to walk on the desk.
Oh, we have a packed agenda,
dude. It's a fake plant. It's fake. You can't eat it.
Oh, FYI, Blaine said he's playing Mario and Luigi Brothership with me because literally that just makes sense.
Is it co-op?
It's not, but I mean, come on. We're the
I
brothers.
mean, are you guys gonna stream it? You should stream it. That
Oh,
would be awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So when I played Silent Hill 2 on Friday, you're not gonna come say hi. You're not
Oh,
gonna.
I'm gonna
hang
come
out?
in. I'm gonna come in and say hi. I'll sit for a little bit, and I will definitely be lurking. I don't know if I can watch, dude. I'm already. Blaine has been pissing his pants. He tells me every time he jump scares with Five Nights at Freddy's. I think that's hysterical.
He's not a horror fan either. Dang, where are my horror fans? at?
He did watch the Babadook. I remember him telling me that scared the shit out of him.
Horror movies are different.
Are they? I don't know. I don't like
Yes.
either. I'm not a fan of
I don't
either.
like horror movies. I don't do horror movies, but I do horror games.
Duke. I just love that the Babadook became the gay icon because of Netflix's blunder, and I love that that's still a thing, and it makes me so happy.
We respect our gay king, the Babadook. Gee, I know you will be there for my Silent Hill today.
I'm trying to see if this is going to be multiplayer.
Hey.
Um,
Can you guys see Bean? Oh wait, no, the camera doesn't go low.
it will not be. It will be a single player game.
Oh, that's sad. That would be a really fun co-op.
It would be, but I understand. Like, it's based off the Game Boy games. I understand it's Game Boy
Fair
games.
enough.
Yeah, I think that's that about it. I know you're not feeling the best.
Oh my gosh, my allergies are killing me today. Turns out when you're allergic to cats, and you like do this thing where you let your cat lick your face and like you kiss your cat and like he sleeps with you and whatnot, it's actually really terrible for your allergies.
At least you're not Allison level bad of allergic.
He's slowly killing me.
You leave the house though and you're fine. Somewhat, kind of, for a small period of time.
It brings me such joy and such love. I'm also allergic to my dog, so it's great.
On that note, I think it's good to call it so you can go rest your voice and you can go relax and do your
You
thing.
play Dragon Age Inquisition in the new Dreamlight Valley update?
Yeah, that's actually valid. If you like surrealism, mouth washing was a mouth washing? What's mouth washing?
I don't know. Oh, I thought that was something you were saying, Blake, and I was like, how do you not know?
I started Dead Space.
Is it a movie? Is it a horror movie? I don't like horror movies.
I've started Dead Space and I'm thinking of playing through. What's Guilt? I don't even know what Guilt is. Emily needs to play Dead Space. Actually, I think Dead Space right now is free on PSN.
Played a good chunk of Dead Space. At Karam's.
Oh.
Bean, you can. Don't bite.
Okay, hold on. It's this mouth washing. It came up as a video game. Oh god. Oh god. This came out this year. It's a first-person horror game following the dying crew of a shipwrecked space freighter.
That sounds good.
That sounds like right up Emily's alley. It's only on PC, but she has PC now. The devs have a free game called How Fish Was Made. What? What the fuck?
I'll give it a look.
It looks. Yeah, this is up your alley. This is.
You know me. I love me my horror games.
This is up your. I'm sending you the link.
I love me some spoops. Do you like the spoops?
No. I wasn't talking to you.
Can you say hi to Blake?
Hello, Bean. Yeah, on that note, we'll go ahead and jump off.
We don't want to do like another 5 minutes of just everyone looking at Bean.
That's up to you. I can leave you guys to it and just leave.
All right. Say goodbye, Bean.
Bye, everyone.